Okay, so we're going to learn how to use the Moodle book and put it into your Moodle course. Like everything else, we have to turn editing on first in Moodle, and then we go and add an activity or resource, and we're going to go down here and add a book. All the other resources we've already covered, other than the folder, which we'll also cover in this chapter. I forgot about the folder. So I'm going to write a book on for my students in my writing section of my course on how to resources, spelled that wrong. And again, I need a name. I do not need a description, and I don't need anything else. I'm going to hit save and display, so I've got the start of a book. Now, I have to make basically I add chapters as I go. So I'm going to say, what is MLA as my first chapter, and I'm just going to go over here and steal some content from the Purdue Online Writing Lab and just toss it in here. So I'm going to hit Save Change, and you're going to see I got a chapter 1 now. What is MLA? Now, every single time I add a chapter from here on out, I'm going to either say whether the chapter is a subchapter or a new chapter, and I do that just by hitting that plus button right there. So I've got this first thing, what is MLA, and then I'm going to hit the plus button, and it says, okay, I'm going to do a new chapter, and really chapters, think of it as sections, and if it's a subsection, I have to check that. So I'm going to go in here and say, oh, hey, you know what, let's make a new chapter called Basic In-Text Citation Rules. We'll do that. So I'll add that there, not make it a subchapter, and I'm going to add all of this in there, and I know I'm just kind of grabbing text, but that works for our demonstration of what that is. So now I've got one that says what is MLA, basic in-text citations, and now I'm going to make a subchapter. You can see how easy this is. I'm going to make one just that talks about in-text citation author styles. This one is going to be a subchapter of in-text citation rules, and you'll see now that became 2-1. Now, obviously, it's easy to add text in there, but just like every other section of Moodle, when I go and I add and I'm in that text box, all these text applications stay the same no matter what we're using. So I have those basic text items. I can link, I can expand and add videos, YouTube. So maybe I want to add a YouTube on showing how to do in-text citation. So I've just Googled in YouTube how to cite text in MLA, and I found this MLA text citation step-by-step guide. And obviously I would proof this, but we'll say that I already did, and it's a really good video. I can just copy the address up here, and I got the full YouTube address there, and I can add just that down here. Video on how to cite, and I hit save changes, and you can see as I'm building that now, I'm building a small, and I really think of this as kind of the chapters of my Moodle course. I don't believe in building one that's the whole course. I do it per chapter, and I kind of do these as I go. The same things I used before, the same URL links, the same pages that I made, all those things that I've done before, I then just kind of went through and copied and pasted them into a new chapter in my Moodle course, so that it's more organized, and the kids have an easier time trying to find that information when they come to it, because they can just go right through the headers and say, okay, that's what they wanted me to read, as opposed to going out. The other thing that's great is if I go to something, and let's say I really like this page here, I'm going to go and open up one in Firefox instead. So I did a Google on how to cite an MLA, and this is an EasyBib article, and I highly recommend teaching your kids how to use EasyBib. But I wouldn't want to go and copy all this because it's kind of a mess if I wanted to add this as text into my book. So one of the great things about Firefox is I have this little button right here when I go to a website that turns it into reader view only. I go and click that, and now everything that was on the side, all the advertisements, all that other junk is gone, and I can go now and say, you know what, I just want this. In fact, I could even just do a Control A to select all and a Control C, and now I can go back there to my book, add another text, and this is a fairly large one, probably bigger than I want to put in my book there, honestly. And I'm going to hit Save Changes. And now all that text is a screen readable. Look, I got all the pictures, I got everything to come over there, and I don't have to worry about that going away. This also might be way too much information, and now I have the ability to edit it, to take it down, to cut it down, and obviously it's a Creative Commons thing. I'm free to use that. It's great that that's on there. But you can see how easy it is to get clean text from my other sites into one cohesive unit for my students to be able to use. Once I'm done with that, I can go back and I can turn editing off and take a look at what that looks like. And there's my book, and my students come in then and they just click on the sections that I assign them to read, and everything digital and accessible for my students from anywhere. And that's the Moodle book.